Now we're into an external constraint. In other words, we don't have enough customers knocking on our door, calling up on the phone, sending us emails with orders. So when we have the situation, we call it a conflict, or a cloud looks like this. And Ellie read Jonathan Livingston Seagull years ago and got thinking about looking up into the sky and seeing clouds and watching them sort of evaporate. And he realized that these conflicts that we have between human beings in the world today stem not from nature, but from the human beings themselves.
Okay.
That it's not that anybody's a bad guy, that they're misassumptions. In these situations, we think we need to take conflicting actions D and D prime in order to meet two different needs that are both important to meet a goal. Let me go through this goal in the case of our marketing conflict, and we'll express it in terms of a cloud. So here's cloud introduction. In order to improve profits now and in the future, that's the 4 M's, make, mo, and mo money, right?
Right.
In order to make mo and mo money, it is necessary to gain more business volume.
Yes.
We know that in the COVID-19, we're running at about, 70% of the business that we need to have in order to make more money. So when the people go back to work, we'll see that 70% rise back up. Don't know what it's going to rise back up to, but if it rises up to 115% of what we need to make to break even, then we'll make money. If it rises up to 90%, we won't. So that's our situation. So we need more business. And in order to gain more business, it's necessary to price based on our customers' perception of value. In other words, if we charge what the customer wants to pay, they'll give us the business. That's an assumption. In order to improve profits now and in the future, it's necessary to get enough percent margin on our products. So charge enough, a high enough markup, if you will. And in order to get enough markup on the products, it's necessary to price based on our perception of value. We say, look, we're spending the amount of money we should be spending. Those customers have to pay us enough margin on all the stuff we sell in order to pay for all these things that we're spending money on now and make us a profit on top of it. A fair profit's enough. We don't have to have a sky's the limit profit, but a fair profit. Now, why is this a conflict?
Because the price that the company perceives the value to be could be different than the one that the customer perceives the value to be.
And is the company's perceived perception of value higher or lower than the customer's?
Usually it's higher, I would assume.
Yeah, because if it were lower, we could just accept the customer's perception of value and go on with it, right?
Correct.
So we'll come back to that. So now let's look at some underlying, there's something wrong with this cloud. And frequently when we first articulate clouds, we get something wrong. And one of the ways we check to see what's wrong, and I won't go through the thing, but we inspect these arrows. In order to improve profits now in the future, we need to gain more business volume, because the more margin we have, throughput we have on every order, the more it improves our profits. That seems to be a good assumption. And it seems to be a good assumption that if we charge based on the customer's perception of value, they'd give us more business. Those seem to be good assumptions. So that brings us down to this, what we call the AC arrow. So here's A, here's C. The AC arrow, let's see what's behind this. And in this case, one of them says that because guaranteeing positive product margin makes the company profitable. The second one is because any sale that has negative margin reduces the company's profitability. Okay. Let's see about those statements. They look to be obviously true. Let's check. And let's start with the second one first. We'll underline it. We're going to check it first. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Get ready for pop quizzes.
Okay.
So here's a nice manufacturing company. Pop quiz. What is the average selling price if they sell this $1 million, $120 million a year in sales, and we're selling only one item, only one different product, simple company, and we sell 1 million of those products? What's the average selling price?
You only sell one product.
Yep, but we sell 1 million of them in a year.
Okay. Then that would be $120.
Man! So the average selling price is $120 for each one. Now, next question. What's the cost to make each item? Pop quiz number 2.
$36.
No,
No, sorry.
that's our raw material cost.
That's just raw material costs. Let's see, $108.
Perfect. So that's our situation, and it gives us a net profit margin of 10% return on sales.
That's pretty good.
Good company. Nice company. I mean, I've seen better, but this is nobody sneezes at this company. Okay, this is good. So we had a little problem. We just lost a $20 million customer. Let's morph the financial statement into what we expect now to have for this year. So there it is. 100 million in sales. Now the raw materials went down from 36 million to 30, right? But I still have the same people, unless I fire a bunch of folks. They still have the same people I had before. And I'm losing now $2 million. I was making $12 million a year, now I'm losing 2. So I'm in a bad situation.
What does the G&A stand for?
General and administrative expenses. Thanks for asking. Good question. So general administrative expenses, this is typically what people put on their financial statements, a lot of the time.
Okay.
Now, most manufacturing companies allocate some labor into their raw materials, and they call it product cost. I'm just allocating it after the fact, and that's how we do with 108. 20% of this year's capacity is unused. So we could make another $20 million worth of stuff.
Okay.
We definitely got to find sales. Nobody has any idea where to get any more business from. All the customers are giving us as much as they can. We don't know any new customers. We can break away from our competitors until we get a report from our sales guy, Carlos, down in Mexico. Carlos says, I can sell it all. But
a 30% discount
off of the average price.
Is that going to make us any money at all?
So that's the question. So what's the price? What would the price be at 30% off our normal price?
So
normal price
120, right? And 30% is $36, so $84, right?
$84. But we just calculated that our cost is $108. What would you do? We know we got this thing that we, no negative margins on the top of the screen, right? That's the title of the page.
But wait, our cost isn't 108 now. Our cost was only 102, right?
Okay, so still, what do you do? You're right. Cost went down because I don't have to buy $36 million for the raw materials anymore. I only buy $30 million of raw materials. But if I were to go back to producing everything I made before, I go back to 36 million, wouldn't I?
Right. Yes.
So 108 is still good, right?
Yes.
So what do you do?
I don't know.
What do you say to Carlos? Well, you want to say no, right?
Right.
So let's check. Like Ellie said, great scientists. We'll just check reality, okay? So let's check and see what would happen. If we added the Mexico business back on. So let's talk about raw materials first. How much does raw materials go up if I produce 20% more than I'm producing now? It goes back to what it was before, if you remember that.
Right.
You can also multiply 30% or $30 million times 20%.
Right. So it's up by 6, right?
That takes us back to 36 where we were in the first place, right?
Right.
So now what does sales go up? We got 20 million at the old price. Maybe the easiest way is to just take 70% of 20 million. 0.7 times 20.
Yeah, 14.
Move by this points around.
Yep.
14. So I'd had $14 million worth of sales. So my sales would be not 120 million anymore, but only 114 million.
That's still okay.
What happened to operating expense? Nothing, right?
Nothing.
Same people were running the plant before, made $120 million worth of sales. The same people run the plant still. And so we do the calculation. Holy crap, what the hell happened here? Did we do some presto changeo here, Andrew? What the heck happened? How do we make $6 million? We made $8 million more selling below our cost.
How do we come up with the 14 again? Because that's the only number that.
Well, remember, we were, if you want to come up with this number, you have to struggle a little bit.
Right,
That we came
70%, right?
We said that we were going to go back to the $20 million we were selling before, but we're going to discount it 30%. 70% of $20 million is $14 million. That's a legitimate number.
Right.
So the discount here was if you will, the $20 million, 30% of that's $6 million, 30% discount. And so we took $6 million off the $20 million, that subtracts to get to 14. So we did it that way too.
Right.
If you want to do it the third way, you can say, well, remember we were making 1 million units before we had $120 million of sales. And we were making 1 million units, so it was $120 per unit, obviously, but we lost 1/6 of our business, right? So you could take 1/6 of 1 million and multiply that times $84 a unit, which we also calculated.
Right.
So let's do that. Let's take 1 million, and we're 1 million divided by 6 times $84. I got 14 million. What'd you get?
Divided by 6 times what?
Times $84. Remember we calculated the Mexican price?
Yep. Yep.
So we've done it 3 different ways. It might be the right answer.
Yeah, we do come up with that 14 million.
And then we said, but wait, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So what happened to us here is you had the right intuition when you answered me the first time. What's our cost? Our cost is 36 million. That was our cost. And you can see we only had to add 6 million of raw materials, but we got to add 14 million of sales. The difference is the $8 million.
Right.
It didn't make any difference to our G&A because we had that much 72 million of G&A to produce 1 million units last year. Now the problem is we're only selling 5/6 of 1 million units. Right. So it does make sense that no negative margins is a BS expectation. So if we go back to here where we were, we got to throw that away.
Right.
That is not a good explanation. Fortunately for us, we have another explanation. And it is that guaranteeing positive product margin makes the company profitable, right? Because we have to get a product margin, right? That's what percent margin on products means. So let's check on that one. This time we're going to take a distribution example. It's much more like Shipper Solutions distribution business. Now, again, we only sell one product to lots of different customers and all different prices, but we sell a million units per year. So our average price is $100 per item. And the way we calculated it last time would be $98 a unit. Good old CFO comes to us and says, hey guys, my analysis shows that fully 15% of our sales is sold at $94 a unit. I suggest we get rid of them. Just tell those customers they're fired. Go away. Because then we'll make money. We're losing $4 a unit on average. Right. Let's stop losing that money. So again, we learned our lesson from Mexico that we're going to take the bad guys out, and it's 15% of our business, right? So $15 million of sales goes away, and that gets us down to 85. And the CFO said, look, don't worry about the sales. Sales is just bragging rights. We don't care about our sales. We care about our profits, right? The goal is not to make more sales. It's to make more and more money. And we go, yeah, you got me there. So then we take the finished goods out. And this is our profit on this, if we're going to calculate it, is $12 million. It comes out. And it's not exactly $12 million. The precise number is $11,968,050. but I'm rounding that up to 12 million because it's pretty down close.
Right.
And so I take that out. I got $63 million of total finished goods now. My G&A expenses don't change like they didn't last time, and I'm losing $1 million. That cost me $3 million. And you can see the $3 million it cost me. It's the difference between what I paid for it and what I sold it for. Now, I think where we are is we're in a situation where positive margin does not necessarily mean profits. So the title up here on the top that I have to have positive percent margins is also baloney.
Right.
So that makes this go away.
So
And
now what do
sadly enough, go ahead.
So now what do we have there?
Well, the problem we have is that if we've invalidated the assumptions, we've got to get enough percent margins on products. So that's got to go away too.
Okay.
We misstated the cloud. There's nothing wrong with our thinking. We just proved that that wasn't true. If it's not true, then the cause can't result in the effect. This is being a good scientist. Don't have to understand it. Don't have to believe it. Don't have to trust it. You can prove that it's not true. It's not true. So the question is, what should we do? What we're trying to do here is we're trying to say we need to ensure profitability. So our prices in general, all together in aggregate, not for one particular product, but across our whole company, the sum of all the prices we charge have to be enough to give us profitability at the current rate of volume. Then if we get more volume, we'd have improved profits. If we get in more profitability, we would have improved profits. And now we've got a happy scenario. Now we've got a solid cloud. And back to the question that you raised initially, and it was a really good question, that the reason there's a conflict arrow in here is because the customer's perception of value can't be raised enough. So isn't this interesting? Because now we're in kind of a different situation than what we really thought we were in. And when business fell off last time in the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009, we had a general manager named Dave Cooper. And Dave Cooper went and said, hey, we don't have enough business, so I'm going to stimulate demand. I'm going to do that, following supply and demand, by reducing price. Now, the reason business fell off in 2008 for us is that we sold a bunch of companies that made products we thought they were all different, like appliances and kitchen cabinets and rugs and chairs and couches and all that kind of stuff. We thought those were all different kind of different manufacturers in different areas of the world, and so we didn't bother to worry about that we weren't too many eggs in one basket. But where did all 5 of those things go?
To U.S.-based customers?
Of course, that's what we thought. But they also all went into new homes.
Oh, okay.
And the crisis that we had in 2008 was because we were making too many new homes.
Right.
And we were giving money to anybody cheap to just buy some of those homes. And it was a hell of a boost to our economy to produce those homes, we thought. Until we had an inventory of too many homes, we had junk bonds that were mortgages wrapped up with people that couldn't pay for their homes. And we had a credit crisis, and everything collapsed because of making too many homes. At the time, the sales of new homes dropped, or production of new homes, manufacturing of new homes dropped 70%.
Wow.
And it happened in 1 month. You couldn't get a loan, so you didn't make a home.
Wow.
So that was the situation that caused the Great Recession of 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, however long you want to say it went on. Went on for a long time.
Right.
I just looked yesterday. We're talking in the spring of 2020 and during the coronavirus. I just looked to see how many new homes are being built. And it's annualizing right now just under 1 million new homes in the United States a year are being built. In 2006, at the peak, we were building 2.2 million new homes a year. So today, it's recovered beautifully. Every year after 2009, new home production has increased, and it is now up to a little less than half of what it was in 2006.
Right.
That's how bad we were overproducing homes. Our business was boosted by the refrigerators that went into the new homes, by the washing machines that went into the new homes, by the kitchen cabinets that went into the new homes, by the rugs that went on the floors of the new homes, the couches that the people sat in to watch the TVs that they bought that went into the new homes. Poof, it all went away. It never came back. Our business is still not as big as it was in the summer of 2007 when we hit our peak. It was already starting to level off before 2008 hit, the year later, and we had this financial crisis. So that's the situation we're in. Dave Cooper didn't know what to do, but he knows. He went to college. Worst thing ever people did, they went to college. They learned about the big X, supply and demand. If I lower my price, people will buy more. So we lowered the prices. Did we get any more volume? The top yellow box. There's no more volume to get.
Right. It's not out there.
It wasn't there. Now, we could have stolen it from somebody else, but the competitors lower their prices too. They couldn't afford to lose any business volume.
Right.
And so the price based on the customer's perception of value was down. Or at least we were afraid that it was down. So this situation, because the customer's perception can't be raised enough, seems like we were in an impossible situation. But my friend Alan Bernard in South Africa has a great saying. He says, impossible unless what? And the impossible unless what? The answer to that question is, what if we had new operational capabilities that save our customer much more money than we want to charge in additional margin, and no significant competitor will copy us. That was true. Because I think we've broken the conflict then. We would have raised the customer's perception of value higher than ours, and suddenly we get money. We're doing this right now. Sky Geeks, we had a truck and a driver. We were already paying for them. Drivers weren't getting 40 hours in a week. Doug says, hey, I'd make a run up to New York. I used to make that run all the time. We're already paying Doug. We're already paying for the truck. It was going to take 320 gallons of gasoline. Let's say gasoline was $2 a gallon, although it's less than that. That would mean $640 worth of gas, right?
Right.
That's our cost we just discovered for going up to New York and picking up the truck. So we asked him, what do you want to pay for that truckload? They asked around a few people to figure out what they should pay. They decided $2,000 was a good price.
That's pretty good.
He said, $2,000 it is, man. We'll go pick up your truckload.
Yep.
And when we asked SkyGeek, do you want to come and outsource your business down here to us in Kentucky? We didn't give them a price. We said, what are you paying now to do it? And it turned out to be $760,000 a year. We said, we'll do it for $760,000 a year. No increase. We'll do it. We'll give you better on time in full. We'll manage your inventory buffers. And your benefit is not, it's just that you don't have to manage it, right? It goes away and you get better work done. But we also can ship out UPS until 11:30 at night. You're going to get a benefit. You'll get your products out to your customers a day sooner for about half of your orders. You know that's going to drive more sales. We know that's going to drive more sales. You want that, don't you? Yes, we want that. Also, shipping from Kentucky out is cheaper than shipping from New York back out because we're in the demographic center of the United States. So this is a cool thing. What's that going to help? Well, we figured about 20% of their UPS charges, which were $1.1 million a year, $220,000 of savings there. What about truck shipments? Well, we have some truck shipments too, $400,000 or $500,000 worth of those. We're going to save 30% on those. That's another $120,000 a year. And if you have the time back that you don't have to spend replenishing, can you spend that time sourcing? And can you save a couple percent on your raw material costs? Yes, we can. We probably can save 4%. They're spending $15 million a year. 10% of 15 million is $1,500,000. 1% is $150,000. 1% is 150, 300, $600,000. It's $1 million a year they save by moving to us. We price based on their perception of value. Doesn't cost us anywhere near $760,000 to provide that service to them, even though we had to add a second shift. They don't care how much margin we make. They care how much margin they make. All of our customers are like SkyGeek. If this is true, then all this stuff goes away and we don't have a cloud anymore. It's evaporated. We price based on the customer's perception of value.